Welcome and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, How to Double Your Sales in Half the Time. Seriously, with Jim Ziegler. My name is Eliana Raggio and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. Recently at NADA, DealerOn received the Best in Show Award for Website Design from Dealer Marketing Magazine. DealerOn was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2012 and 2013, and it's official. DealerOn customers have been winners of the Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards highly coveted overall winner 4 times in a row. DealerOn's the only website company that can claim that. DealerOn is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So, does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Jim Ziegler as our presenter today. James A. Ziegler, a.k.a. the Alpha Dawg, is recognized industry thought leader, best-selling author, magazine columnist, and certified speaking professional. In 37 years, Ziegler has done business with more than 15,000 dealerships, and more than 100,000 dealers, managers, and factory executives have attended Jim's seminars. Traveling 200 days a year, he's worked in more than 1,000 showrooms in no less than 200 cities and 49 states. And if anyone out there from Alaska is out there, he hasn't made it to Alaska yet, so get him out there. A celebrity speaker in the U.S. auto industry, James Ziegler is known for his high-energy, controversial, top-rated keynote speeches, national convention workshops, and in-dealership hands-on trainings. He has been the featured keynote speaker for 80 State Automobile Dealer Association annual conventions and has been consistently rated as a top speaker at 12 national NADA conventions. Jim is often quoted as an industry expert by news outlets such as Reuters, Automotive News, USA Today, Bloomberg News, Dow Jones, Entrepreneur Magazine, and CNN. He is the author of the best-selling book, The Prosperity Equation, and he can be reached at zieglerss@aol.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry. We're going to respond by email to you later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of the webinar recording will be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends at Ziegler Super Systems are giving away not 1, but 2 fantastic prizes today on this webinar. 2 of you lucky webinar attendees are going to be winning a set of Ziegler Systems Ultimate Professional Sales on DVD, on video. It's valued at $1,500 each. All you have to do is stay tuned for details after Jim's presentation, and you could be walking away with this awesome prize today. Also, at the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out, because we're always looking for great feedback from you, our valued audience. And today we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Let's learn how to double our sales in half the time. Jim Ziegler, the Alpha Dawg himself. How are you, my friend?
I am having the most exciting day. I've been looking forward to this webinar. We got a big audience.
Yes, we do. We do. And let me tell you, for those of you who don't know, and certainly there's some of you out there who have never been on one of my webinars before, I am always on the hunt for great, great speakers. There is the list of truly, truly phenomenal speakers in the automotive industry is very short, and Jim is right up there. And let me tell you, I have been stalking his butt all over this country for like the better part of almost 9 months now. I finally got him on the show, so I am thrilled to finally have you here, Jim.
Thrilled to be here. I only have one disappointment.
What's that?
Grant Cardone got a larger audience.
Stop. You guys are so competitive. You're killing me. But let me tell you this. When you told me the title for this webinar, How to Double Your Sales in Half the Time, my first reaction was, really? Seriously? Can you really do that? So I'm very excited to hear how you're going to tell these good folks on my webinar how they can double their sales in half the time. Where do we begin, Jim?
Well, first of all, my vision is that this webinar will change some people's lives forever. Some people will never be the same after the hour we spend together today. But then again, there's other people listening to this event who are going to yawn, say they know it all, and they're going to stay exactly the way they are. And, I don't know who is who, but I got to tell you, I've been doing this for 37 years. And 37 years ago, Eliana, I walked into a car dealership and I said I'd like to be a car salesman.
You did? Did they hire you?
They did. But the thing about it is, I didn't like to be a car salesman. And today we would say salesperson. The truth of the matter is, I just wanted to get a free car and get a job until I could find a better job. I wasn't going to stay in this industry 37 years ago. I was just going to do this until I could get a good job. Now, I had come out of the radio industry. I had been a DJ, and I was very well known in that industry, and I had been a radio advertising salesperson. As a matter of fact, in Jacksonville, Florida, where I'm from, I worked with WAPE radio. I was an extremely well-known DJ. But when I went into sales and became an advertising salesman, I had to prospect for my own business. I had to go knocking on doors in shopping centers, and I had to create new accounts that had never advertised ever. And when I got in the car business, I was amazed because people in the car business, for the most part, stand around waiting for a customer to appear or a phone call to happen or a lead to come in on the internet, which wasn't happening at that time, but that's what's happening today. And I couldn't understand. I reached out in the community and generated a lot of my own business. And I'm all about productivity. And productivity is organization and prioritizing and getting things done. I've been selling cars 37 years. I've set some records in our industry. And I've got to tell you, I have never in 37 years sold a car to another salesperson that I work with. So, excuse me, if I worked on the same sales floor that you worked on, I would be your friend. But I would have no time for you. If you needed my help, I'd certainly help you do whatever I could help you do. But the truth of the matter is, get away from me, because I've got to be in front of a customer, looking for a customer, generating a customer. I have to be looking to be in front of a customer, because when you are not in front of a customer, you are in downtime. And that could be the telephone, that could be the internet. There's all sorts of enabling things that advance your productivity today to make you more productive. But so many salespersons that I know are not productive because they're waiting for something to happen instead of reaching out and making something happen. And that's what I'm all about. Even today, when I get up in the morning, I look in the mirror, I put on my tie, and I say, by God, somebody's going to pay for this. I did not come to do anything other than get the money. This is what I do for a living, and by George, I am going to be productive in the time I'm here. In most of the dealerships listening to this webinar today, there's people out there that some of you made $10,000 in a month. Somebody in your dealership made $10,000 selling automobiles, and somebody else made $1,500. What's the difference in those two people? They both worked the same number of hours. They could have worked the same customers. They worked out of the same inventory. They had the same opportunities. It's if you're not making the kind of money you need to make, it's not the economy, it's not the inventory, it's not the dealership, it's not the product, it's not Barack Obama, it's you. It's not George Bush, it's you. You've got to accept responsibility and get your productivity organized. Every day I hit the phones at 5:30. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm prioritizing. What is the most important thing I have to do today? Organize your day. Sharpen the axe before you start cutting down the tree. That comes right from the late Stephen Covey. Start prioritizing. What is the most important thing I have to accomplish today? Because so many people get distracted. And I'm going to say something to you, and you can take this and write it down. beware of distractions that appear to be opportunities. Prioritize what is important. The most effective people are those people that can manage the most projects at the same time efficiently. I have a friend named Dan Thurman who is a juggler. This guy is a world-class speaker, juggler. I mean, he is a six-ball juggler, and I don't know if anybody knows what that means, but when you are in the juggling business, and whether you're juggling balls or chainsaws, if you can do six at the same time, man, you are the best. Well, that's Dan Thurman. And I said, Dan, how did you ever get to the point where you could juggle six balls? He said, I tried for 7. So in other words, stretching yourself beyond what you think you can do. And there was a book a couple years ago called the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And
6 degrees of separation, right.
6 degrees of separation, exactly. It theorized that everybody on earth knew somebody who 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 knew Kevin Bacon. So in other words, if you want to find Kevin Bacon, it was already in your sphere of influence. If the average person influenced 250 people, well, guess what? With all of our social mediums today, all of our technology-enabled enhancing tools, I think that's separated down to 3 generations, three degrees of separation. I think that I know somebody who knows somebody who knows Kevin Bacon. I think I'm 3 degrees away from him. And to leverage the power of your existing relationships and create more relationships, and when I say leverage relationships, we're not using people. It's got to be mutually beneficial. Zig Ziegler, another friend of mine that passed away recently, and I'm not related to Zig Ziegler, but I knew him through the National Speakers Association quite well. We spoke on many occasions. He misspelled his name, was the big joke. But Zig Ziegler said, you'll get everything you need if you help other people get what they need. And that is one of the keys to prospecting and creating customer relationships. You know, we always ask customers for referrals, but how many salespeople refer other people to our customers' businesses? You know, I get a lot of things by helping other people. And I go out of my way to help other people with no expectation of reward. If you can help other people and don't expect anything back, the universe will just pay you back in another way, is what I found. The most powerful people on earth are those people with influence, people that influence the most other people. And that's right out of my book, The Prosperity Equation, theprosperityequation.com, thank you. theprosperityequation.com. The most powerful people on earth are those people who influence the most other people. So in other words, influence is power, money is measurement. You know, when I talk about the Alpha Dawg tribe, we joke about it, but those are real people. They're flesh and blood people that help me and I help them. I mean, to develop a circle of influence is going to make you a much more powerful salesperson, manager, or dealership. Dealerships have a personality, and dealerships need to develop a personality that people recognize as your brand. Now, this is going to be strange to some people in this audience. I know at least 30 salespeople who make more than $40,000 a month selling automobiles. I know 40 salespeople maybe making $25,000, $30,000. But I know 30 people making in excess of $40,000 a month. And I have sought these people out, and they're all kinds of people. They're black, they're white, they're Hispanic, they're old, they're young, they're men, they're women, they're U.S. citizens, they're people that immigrated here from somewhere else. They're all kinds of people. But the people making the big money, the $40,000 to $30,000 a month sales professionals, have 2 common traits. First of all, they reach out into the community and prospect and generate their own business. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that today. I'm going to tell you how to get all the business you need and never have to catch a customer on the floor of the phone. I mean, technology's great and it'll feed the masses, but if you want to be the superstar, I'm going to tell you how to do it. And the other thing they do is they manage relationships with their previous customers. And, you know, we talk about CRM, customer relationship management, as if it's a computer program. You know, people expect technology to sell cars and manage relationships. It does not do that. Technology is just an enabler that gives you the ability to do that. When I talked to a car salesperson that was just hired, I said, why do you think we hired you? Why are you a salesperson here? What do we expect of you? Well, I like cars. Yeah, you like cars. What else? Well, I'm good. Okay, how are you good? You know, we hired you because we suspected you had a personality, and you're not using any of that with your customers. You know, it's a personable business. It's the biggest thing you can do that's going to sell cars is humanize yourself. Don't be a pre-rehearsed robot spouting word tracks at them like you memorized. The most successful salespersons are those salespersons that know how to reach out in the community and generate business, to create relationships with strangers. And I got to tell you, Eliana, I don't know a stranger. I got that from my mother. My mother could start a conversation with somebody in an elevator. I mean, she could talk to everybody. You know, you can't, and you got to admit you're a car salesman in public, car salesperson in public. So many car salespeople never mention what they do outside the business and wonder why they don't have any generated business. ABP. Now, you remember Glenn Ross, when he said, always be closing?
I love that movie. That's a great movie.
Wasn't it? Well, I've always prospected. Now, this is kind of funny. You're going to love this. When I met my wife, we've been married 28 years, almost 29, my wife was an up. That's right. She bought a car from me. In those days, we were working so many hours. Where else was I going to meet women? You know? So I made so much profit on that deal, I completely put her in the ditch. I made a home run on the car I sold my wife when I met her. And then I ended up making every payment myself. Pissed me off. Anyway, every time I saw that car. But anyway, when we were dating, we would go to the movie theater, and I'd say, 2 tickets for Godfather 5. Yes, ma'am, when are you going to buy your next car? I was prospecting everywhere, the little guy tearing tickets. My wife was embarrassed in public because I asked virtually everybody I knew if they're in the market for an automobile. And now bear in mind, I wasn't the best world record-setting salesman when I sold cars, but I sold 30 cars many, many months, more months than not. And I was always the top salesman in any dealership I worked for. I was never beaten as the top salesman. So even though I wasn't a world record-setting salesman, I've sought those people out and I've met them. I brought in more than half of my business from the public. Half of my business came from the outside. I'd like to poll the audience a second here, Eliana, if you take a moment and ask the question.
I think that's a great idea. Okay, audience, now's your chance to get involved with us. So Jim has this question. He wants to know what you think. We want to know, have you ever had any formal training about how to prospect for new customers? So what's the answer? Please just select one of the following options. Is it, why, yes, and it was really helpful? Yes, but it wasn't very helpful? No, haven't had any formal training, but we're thinking about it. How about no, management doesn't think we need formal training, or formal training, and then you fall off your chair. So after you come up from falling off your chair, maybe you might want to select that one, okay? So don't write into me. I know a lot of people are writing into me, but if you could, please select one of the following options on your screen. We really appreciate it. Once we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close this poll and share the results, and you're going to get to see what other people on this webinar say. So, formal training on how to prospect, which I would like to think that would be pretty important to any sales professional out there. You know, it's not just about closing the sale, very important as well, but also how do you find those people that you can sell to. So, Jim, before we get to the answers, before we close this poll, just so I know, were you ever trained on prospecting?
When I first got in the car business, Eliana, they threw me in a room with a bunch of Jackie B. Cooper beta tapes and told me, do not come out until you're fully trained, and I was never trained again.
That was it?
That's it. And most car salespeople are trained once in their life, and the dealership never retrains them.
Huh. Well, let's see what today's audience said. Are you ready to find out?
I am so ready.
Okay, here we go with a majority of the votes. Oh, votes are still coming in. My goodness. Okay.
Let them vote.
Let them vote.
We're going to stay here till they learn what they want to learn, and I am here for the duration.
Okay. Well, let's close this poll, and let's share the results, everyone. Here we go. 51% of today's audience said, yes, I have had formal training, and it was really helpful. There you go. See? They liked it. We had
that's because we got the smart audience.
Of course. I do actually.
The stupid audience that didn't show up would have answered differently.
I have to say, I really do have a smart audience, and they're wonderful. Okay. After that, we have 15% of today's audience said, yes, they have had formal training, but it wasn't very helpful. So there you go. A quarter of today's audience, 25%, said, no, we haven't had formal training, but we are thinking about it. That's good news. 2% of today's audience said, no formal training on prospecting. Management doesn't think we need it. And a solid 7% of today's audience fell off their chair and said, formal training? What's that? So did that answer your question, Jim?
That answered my question, and it was a surprising result. And I wonder if this audience is indicative of the whole industry, because let's face it, we have an audience here today that believes in training.
I mean, we have a great cross-section. We have people from Indiana and California and Boston and Puerto Rico, so I know that we have a great cross-section today.
But the point is, the people that would attend a webinar and take an hour out of their day to do this are people who are training-minded already, so that might skew the results on that survey a little bit, because we have a training-minded audience, and I applaud you for that.
I do too.
You ready to move on?
Absolutely.
Okay. I have a standing challenge that I can walk out of any dealership in the United States. If the weather is good, and it's not a holiday, and it's not a Sunday, good weather, not a Sunday, not a holiday, that I can find and sell a car to a consumer that I met in that community before the sun sets and deliver that car that day.
Really?
And I can do it every day.
Every day.
Luther Coggin of the Coggin Organization, I started out in the Coggin Organization, Jacksonville, that has become the Asbury Group. And to the day I left, I was the top salesman in the history of that company until I left. People broke that record since. But I was the record-holding salesman up until the day I left. And Luther Coggin asked me one day, and I love Luther Coggin, he asked me one day, he said, Jim, how do you sell so many cars? I said, well, Mr. Coggin, I sell a car every day I show up. Why else would I be here? And in my little West Jacksonville redneck way, that was 100% of my reasoning. If I show up, I'm going to sell a car. And I got to sell 2 on Saturday because we're closed on Sunday. That was my entire business plan. Show up, sell a car. There are 3 questions you can ask a complete stranger that will result in the sale of a car, 1 out of 10 people. If I meet 10 strangers, now the audience, listen closely. You are swimming in a sea of ups. And up is a slang word for an opportunity. I know that, but I'm going to use that slang word up. You're swimming in an ocean of opportunities. People are passing you in the supermarket. People are passing you in restaurants, hotels, on the street that are currently in the market for an automobile, and you're not hooking up with them. They don't know what you do. I mean, if you just ask the 3 questions, 1 out of 10 people is going to say, yeah, I'm looking for a car right now. And I'm going to tell you a couple examples where I've sold 3 cars in 2 days in the last couple of months in certain dealerships. I sell more cars today just fooling around in my travels that some of the professionals in your dealership sell on purpose showing up every day. I'm averaging 7, 8 units a month now, just traveling around the country working in dealerships with people I bring in out of the community. Question number 1. This question is so dynamic and it's so simplistic. When are you going to buy your next car? If I ask 10 complete strangers that question, I will sell a car to somebody. Not, would you like to buy a car? Are you thinking about buying? When are you going to buy your next car? And I challenge everybody. I ask that question continuously. When are you going to buy your next car? And people just look at you. You're in the car business. I was in Gary Lane Auto Group about a month and a half ago, McHenry, Illinois, and I was with a dealer, and I said to the waitress, when are you going to buy your next car? And she said, you know, I'm looking for one right now. And she had a down payment. She was fully qualified. We made an appointment, and I left, but I'm sure that, you know, I had to fly out that day, but I'm sure that that car got delivered after I left. I've got more war stories than you've got time to listen to about that question, selling cars. Over and over again. When are you going to buy your next car? And the second question, and I'm going to get back to this, by the way. I want to get all 3 questions out before I expand on it. The second question is, who do you know? Who do you know that's in the market for a car? Now, the best story that I tell about that is my good friend Jeff Enright, and Jeff is the dealer partner general manager of Park Cities Ford in Dallas, Texas. I have known Jeff for 20 years. The first time I met my friend Jeff Enright, and he will tell you the story if you know him, he and his finance director, Cameron Rieger, picked me up at the airport, DFW. They took me to Papa Do's seafood restaurant. Eliana, you've already figured out I love food. I mean, you look at me, you know. And by the way, I've lost 40 pounds since the NADA convention. I saw myself sort of like Jabba the Hutt, and I was a little embarrassed. So I'm down to fighting weight again. But anyway, you know, that's constantly a battle. They took me to Papa Do's seafood restaurant. First time I'd ever been to a Papa Do's. The waiter was a Cambodian guy. His name was Tron. Now, I'm talking 1988. That's how far back this goes. I says, Tron, when are you going to buy your next car? Now, bear in mind, I just blew into Dallas. It was nighttime. The general manager of that dealership and the finance director picked me up, Jeff Enright and Cameron Rieger. And Tron said, I just got a car. I said, what did you get? He said, I got a Mitsubishi Eclipse. I said, man, they must pay you people at this restaurant a lot of money. He said, you're rich. He said, no, my parents live in Cambodia. We're wealthy. I'm a college student, and they bought the car for me. I said, okay, well, who do you know that works in this restaurant that needs a car? He said, the night manager, whose name was Melinda. I said, would you please ask Melinda to come by the table? Now, of course, being the manager, she was expecting a customer complaint. She says, can I help you? I said, Tron tells me you're looking for an automobile. She says, yes. I totaled out my previous car, and I'm looking for a car. Now the insurance adjusters told me to get one. We delivered her the next day. In the meantime, Tron, the waiter, brings me up another Cambodian young man from the kitchen who was evidently a dishwasher or a kitchen help, and he bought a $2,000 car for cash. I hadn't been in town an hour and had 2 firm sales by asking the first 2 questions. Who do you know? And when are you going to buy your next car? 2 extremely powerful questions. And the third question, would you consider selling me this car, the one you're driving? Now, this is probably the most powerful of the 3. Yeah, but you gotta have permission from your management to do this one. You know, check with your used car management, check with your general sales management. Would your dealership buy a car for cash from somebody in the public? and what kind of cars would they buy? Now, when I was selling Datsuns in the 70s and 80s, when they first came into the country before they became Nissans, my sales manager was a guy named Ken Vargas. Now Ken works for Duval Ford, last I heard, still in Jacksonville. He's still in the business. And my manager was Ken Vargas. He was my used car manager. We were both a little younger than I'm sure. And I would get in the newspaper. And, didn't have Auto Trader, didn't have online listings or Craigslist. I would get in the newspaper, and I would actually start calling people that were selling their cars. Sir, my name is Jim Ziegler. I saw your car advertised in the paper. I'm a sales representative at Superior Datsun Jacksonville, and my manager, Mr. Ken Vargas, asked me to give you a call, and would you consider selling us the Toyota that you're advertising? You want to buy my car? Yes, I do. I'm asking $9,000. Well, sir, I don't know about $9,000. All I know is Mr. Vargas will pay ridiculous money, more money than anybody in the world would offer you. If you come by the dealership and give me an opportunity, we won't waste your time. We'll have you a cash figure in 10 minutes. And I'm going to tell you what, I have sold literally hundreds, if not thousands of cars in the last 30 years with that simple question and that simple technique. I've walked across shopping center parking lots and said, excuse me, would you consider selling this car? And people look at you like you're just slap crazy. Would you consider selling me this car? You want to buy my car? Yeah, I want to buy your car. I talk about one time I was a grand opening of a dealership in Corydon, Indiana, and I'm not going to name the dealership right now, but it was a dealership in Corydon, Indiana, and there were no customers, and they were having their grand opening, and there was nobody there. They had all the stuff going, and I told one of the salesmen, get me a Mustang convertible. He said, what? Get me a Mustang convertible, put the top down. Where are we going? We're going over down the street to Walmart because they're covered up with customers over there. The lot is full over there. Let's go get a customer off the Walmart parking lot. So with me sitting in the passenger seat, we drove up and down the parking lot, winding around Walmart, and there was a man getting out of an F-150 pickup truck. He had on a cowboy outfit, a cowboy hat. He had jeans and a big belt buckle and cowboy boots. He was either a cowboy or maybe he was a wholesaler. I'm not, but he had a big cowboy outfit on. Anyway, I said, pull up next to that man over there. We pulled up next to that guy, and I said, sir, my name is Jim Ziegler. I'm a public relations consultant. I'm working for Ford Motor Company, and we have opened up a brand new dealership up the street. He said, I saw that. I said, sir, we are in a severe shortage of used pre-owned truck inventory. If you would consider selling me this truck, I will pay absolutely stupid money. And the man looked at me. He had like a little 7-year-old daughter with him. He said, you want to buy my truck? Yes, sir, I want to buy your truck. You want to buy my truck? Yes, sir, I want to buy your truck. Cash money. How much? And when he said how much, that was the equivalent of the cork going under. That was him swallowing the hook. I had threw it out there. Would you consider selling it to me? And the cork went under. How much? I said, sir, I am not the official buyer, but if you will follow me down the street, I will not waste your time. Less than 10 minutes, you have a cash offer that will honor for 10 days. Well, he followed me down the street back to the dealership. Eliana, I don't know what that man's wife thought he was going to bring home from the Walmart. But he came home with a brand new F-150 pickup truck, and I've got multiple witnesses to that occasion. And people laughed. Ziegler pulled this guy off a Walmart parking lot. Yes, I did. Would you consider selling me this car? Powerful 3 questions. It's all about customer relationship management. Real customer relationship management. When are you going to buy your next car? I sold a lady in a supermarket line with that question. When are you going to buy your next car? I had my cart in front of her cart. We're waiting for the cashier. I made some idle conversation about the National Enquirer newspaper and Elvis was still alive or something like that. And I said, by the way, when are you going to buy your next car? She says, you know, I'm looking for one right now. Eliana, over and over again, my good friend Keith Orr of the Orr dealerships, Texarkana, I don't know, he's got 20 or 30 dealership partner relationships. He owns a lot of stores. Well, 2 years ago, I was doing some work with the Orr organization, and they brought all of his managers from all 20 or 30, I don't know how many of the stores. We had maybe 60 or 70 people in the room, but he brought all of his managers in for me to do a 2-day sales management seminar. Well, the first night, Keith Orr took me and a bunch of his dealer partners to a local steakhouse. I said to the waitress, when are you going to buy your next car? No, excuse me, scratch that. It was the hostess, the lady that seats you, the lady that is at the front desk. I said, when are you going to buy your next car? And all the managers and partners are laughing. And she says, you know, I totaled my car and I need an insurance replacement right now. I mean, Eliana, what do you think of that?
What happened next?
Oh, okay, one thing you have to know. When I tell a story, it always results in a delivery and a high profit.
I didn't know that.
How do you know we delivered the car? How do you know we made a high profit? I wouldn't tell the story otherwise. I have other stories that didn't make a high profit and didn't get delivered. I don't tell them. It would have no value to this webinar.
Obviously.
So if I'm telling a story, you better believe it resulted in a delivery and a high profit. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does. I don't even know why I bothered asking. Go ahead.
Okay. I have sought out some of the best prospectors in the world. I have sought out people that prospect in the community. There is a young man in Port Lavaca, Texas, named Frank Ulu, U-L-U. Now, Frank is one of those $40,000 a month people I was telling you about. And I was doing a seminar here about 6 or 7 years ago, and I've been consulting, that's the Ben Keating stores, and I've been consulting and working and training the Ben Keating stores for 15 years. And he's got, I don't know how many stores Ben's got now, probably 9, 10, 11, 12. I've lost track. Ben's become a race car driver as well as a dealer. But anyway, 7, 8 years ago, I'm doing a sales manager seminar in Atlanta. And I had maybe 100 sales managers in the room. And a couple salespeople were in the mix. And I kept talking about, you know, this one salesman in the room made $40,000 a month. I kept talking about him over and over again. And finally, during one of the breaks, this young African gentleman comes up to me, Frank Ulu, and he says, very soft spoken, he said, Jim, you've been bragging about that other salesman the entire seminar making $40,000 a month. I said, yeah, it's incredible. He says, Mr. Ziegler, I work with him. I make more than he does. Now, you notice I said he was African. I did not say he was African American. He's from Nigeria. He's an immigrant. And, you know, the land of opportunity, Frank is making that kind of money. And I believe he's been promoted to management since. And he said something that really, really, really made me feel good. He said, Mr. Ziegler, I took your prospecting training to heart. You're the only person that has ever trained me. But you know, remember at the beginning of this thing, I said some people are going to get it, and some people are going to yawn and never do it. Well, he's one of those guys that got it and does it. I have sought out some of the very best performers. Anytime I hear about one of these super performing salespeople, I seek them out, you know, wherever they are. And back in the late 90s, there was a salesman in Atlanta named Cedric. I'm not going to say Cedric's last name in this instance, got no permission to do that. But Cedric, I kept hearing about this guy that was selling 30, 40, 50 units a month, retail. And so I made a point to get introduced to him through somebody that knew him, and I went to go have lunch with him. I said, Cedric, How do you sell 30, 40, 50 cars a month in a dealership that only sells 125 units? You're 40% of their sales. He says, Jim, I use these little signs. And he held up a little cardboard sign that said, ask me about the best car deal in Atlanta. I said, what is that all about? He says, well, I distribute these and with a Bird Dog network. Now, remember, Bird Dog networks are not legal in all states. But in Georgia, it's legal to reward a consumer for referring somebody to you with cash. He says, I have a whole Bird Dog network, and they have these little signs at their place of business. Ask me about the best car deal in Atlanta. Well, at that point, I sort of blew him off. I thought, well, he was just kidding me, that wasn't really how he did it. But then my wife was getting her hair done, and you know, I'm a bald guy, you know, I got very little hair to fool with. And so while she's getting her hair done at this foo-foo place she goes to, I said, well, I'll get my hair cut while I'm here. So I go back to get my hair cut. The place was called Hair Benders. I go back to get my hair cut, and I look down on the lady that's cutting my hair. Her workstation is a little sign that says, ask me about the best car deal in Atlanta. I said, what is that? She said, oh, his name is Cedric. Mr. Ziegler, he's tremendous. He's got his own fleet of rental cars. They'll give you a loaner car. She had been trained. This woman obviously had been trained in a sales presentation on him. She gave me his business card with the number 5 on the back, which evidently was her Bird Dog number to receive her commission after the fact. And all of a sudden, my eyes were wide open. I started seeing these signs everywhere. I went to the Mexican restaurant, and there's a sign right there by the cashier. My friend, Mr. Carlos, has a sign, and we've been eating there forever. It says, ask me about the best car deal in Atlanta. And there's another sign right next to it in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish, but I've got a pretty good idea what it says. Ask me about the best car deal in Atlanta. I went to the health club where we worked out, American Fitness Center, and I watched a young woman come to work, and she puts her sign up on the counter when she opens her little bag and starts, you know, she took her radio out and a couple things, and she puts a little sign right on the counter, ask me about the best car deal in Atlanta. This guy had peppered the town with him. I understand that he was actually having sales contests and was having parties for his Bird Dog network. I mean, he had so many people in that network. And by the way, I had probably 100 people in my Bird Dog network when I was selling cars, people that I had recruited that sold cars for me. And that's become a lost art with all but so few salespeople. Technology doesn't sell cars. It only enhances and enables and magnifies the number of projects you're able to manage. Stop thinking computers are going to sell cars. There's got to be a personality in there somewhere. The little man behind the curtains didn't have a personality until he came out and talked to Dorothy and the crew in The Wizard of Oz. I mean, you've got to speak to people. Salespeople don't understand. They don't get it. Cars are not going to sell themselves. Price doesn't sell cars. Relationships sell cars. People do not buy from you because they like you. Just because they like you is not a 100% guarantee you're going to sell a car. But if they dislike you or are apathetic about you, they will certainly not buy a car from somebody they dislike or don't care about. You've got to have a personality. Now, here's 2 words I want to throw out. Everybody in this audience needs to write down these 2 words. Persuasion and finesse. You don't need to lie, cheat, sneak, deceive, or misrepresent anything to sell cars. You know, everything we do can be done with persuasion and finesse. High integrity. You don't need to trick customers into a profit. You need to persuade them to buy the car. You need to have a personality. You need to have empathy. You need to get close to them where they like you. So many salespeople never, ever break through with a customer where they see you anything more than somebody serving them. I want to be the consultant that helps them to make an intelligent and informed decision. So technology doesn't sell. Now I use a CRM program in my business. Now bear in mind, I do I do millions of dollars of business in a company with 3 people in it. I am a one-man BDC. I make 100 phone contacts a day. The same headset I'm wearing right now. And I talk to people. And one thing about it, the more people you influence, the stronger you are. People are the currency. Money is measurement. Stop worrying about how much money you're making. Money will happen. If you are strictly money motivated, that's for hookers and pawnbrokers. Excuse me. I'm not money motivated. I'm achievement motivated. I'm motivated by the relationships. You know, one of the greatest philosophers of the 21st century, Mr. Ringo Starr, said it in 1967. I get by with a little help from my friends. Once again, if you help other people, they're going to help you, and they're going to want to help you. And when people want to help you because you help them first, do good things and good things come back. Business by referral. Get people to send you people. Even when I deliver a car, I say, who do you know? Do you have a friend, a neighbor, somebody close by? And who do you know that you can refer to me? I ask that all the time. Another one of my friends, Jerry Tebow, the phone ninja. Business by referrals. You know Jerry?
I love it. Yeah, he's been on the show a few times. He's great.
Have you ever seen Jerry play blackjack?
He's amazing. I want to go gambling with him.
I held the Internet Battle Plan last month in Detroit, and Jerry played blackjack, and I saw him do it. He won $80,000 in 3 hours. I've got pictures of the checks on my Facebook page that the casino wrote him. I saw him win $125,000 at the area casino last year. Why he even has a company, I don't know. I
don't know why he's not just a professional gambler. I don't understand it.
He's amazing.
He's obviously got more than one talent, because phone ninja, I don't know.
A young woman said to him at the Battle Plan Seminar, Jerry, I need enough money to buy a purse in a gift shop. He said, sit by me for a couple of minutes. He coached her, and she won $1,500 in like an hour.
That buys a lot of purses.
Business by referral. That's Jerry's big thing, you know, the phone ninja. A little help from my friends. I think I've covered that pretty well. Effective social media. Now here's where that amplification of relationships comes in. I have 100,000 friends and followers on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, all the social medias, the ADM community. I've got people all over the place, and I know these people. I interact with them. I help them. They help me. The Alpha Dawg tribe came out of the social medias. You know, when I deliver a car, I'm going to get a video testimonial of that customer when they do delivery. I'm going to have that customer, what do you think? Did you have a good experience here? What do you think of your new car? I'm going to get them so excited. I'm going to make a video of it, and then I'm going to put that video on my YouTube channel. And then I'm going to put that video on their Facebook page with their permission. Every dealership out there in the F&I department, you need to have another form. And that form is, what social medias are you on, and can we contact and friend you on these mediums? What is your Twitter handle? What is your Facebook handle? I want to get a whole social media survey on every customer that buys a car from us and recruit them to our fan pages and our business pages and communicate with them. You know, say there's a young woman that's buying a car, or even a young man for that matter, I don't want to sound sexist, but say there's a young woman buying a car. Her husband is in Afghanistan. He's a soldier. She's got a power of attorney. She's scared to death to make this decision, but she has to. What if we took a video of her presenting that car to her husband and put it up on YouTube where he could help her with the decision? What about the college student that needs their parent in another city to co-sign for their car? We're going to do all this by Federal Express. What if we videoed that young person walking around that car telling their parents about the features of it, and then put that up on YouTube and email that to the parents? If you're not using video in your sales and prospecting today, you're missing the bet. I use a lot of video communication as opposed to flat text. The best person in the world is Elise Kephart. Now, Elise Kephart, called the YouTube Diva, she is phenomenal I discovered her. Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't create her. She was already doing this. But when I was trolling across the internet looking for ways to sell cars 5 or 6 years ago, I came across this young woman, and she works in San Luis Obispo, California, and she is absolutely incredible. She sells Hondas, Sunset Honda. Now, if you go to YouTube.com/Sunset Honda, you will see the videos that she sends to consumers. Every consumer gets a personalized video calling them by their name. And here every other dealership in the world is sending out these little flat text autoresponders, and she's sending out a custom video talking directly to the people in a very personable, friendly way. She is knocking the cover off the ball. YouTube.com/Sunset Honda. Look at what she does. She is phenomenal. The YouTube diva, Elise Kephart, I didn't create her. I discovered her. And by the way, Eliana, have you had her on yet?
I have, and I had her on once, and she talked about, we did a webinar about how to create a great branding video in 5 minutes. She was stunning, and I've been trying to get her back on my show ever since.
You should.
I haven't inked it yet, but keep August 15th open. I think that might be the day I get her back on here. She is outstanding.
I will watch that one myself. You know, I learn from her every time I'm around her.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. I got to meet her just recently at the Digital Dealer Convention last month. One of
the best things that come along lately is Pinterest. If you're not on Pinterest, you are missing the boat. Now, Pinterest used to be wedding dresses and recipes, but if you go to my Pinterest page and look around, it's Pinterest.com/Jim Ziegler. Pinterest.com/Jim Ziegler. There's one board at the bottom, car dealers on Pinterest. Look at all, and I've got all the car dealers that are using Pinterest and how they're using it to sell cars. This is a phenomenal social media that's brand new, and a lot of people don't know how to use it yet. We're selling a lot of cars, a lot of prospecting, a lot of conquest business with Pinterest. 100 phone calls a day. I know car sales professionals probably can't make 100 a day, but if you're not making appointments, you've got to work by appointment. It's personal. I see car salespeople all the time say, "Come on in anytime. I'm not doing anything anyway." Quit it. We work by appointment at ABC Motors. I'm available 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock. What's better for you? I can't believe that people lose the appointment. You gotta understand, we are in the business of appointments. I can't tell you how many dealerships I look at and I analyze their business, and I look at their website and I can't find their phone number. It's amazing to me. So many dealerships don't have the phone number at the top of the website in 100 pica print. I mean, if I owned a dealership and my website would have the phone number flashing at the top, and you know what people tell me? You're not going to believe this. You ready?
I'm ready.
They say, "Well, we don't put the phone number up there because we want to convert the customer to an email so we can convert them to a phone call."
Come on, you're making that up. They don't say that.
No, I'm not. The mentality is, we want to get them in an email so we can get a phone call. Well, why not just start out with a phone call, you moron? What are you thinking about? Come on. Put your phone number in big, bold, flashing print. It should be the most prominent thing on every dealer's website. And it's hidden. And, I mean, you can hardly find it. You've got to go to Contact Us. And that phone number should be prime real estate on your website. What are you thinking? Do you have a brain cramp? Come on. Now, here's one very important point. We'll get toward the end of this thing, but one very important point is diary your conversations. When I'm sitting in front of my screen and I've got my headset on and I'm talking to those 100 people a day, I am making notes about what we talked about. And not only am I making notes about what we talked about, I'm making notes what they told me about themselves. Now, if you told me your husband's name was Robert, and you told me that Robert was trying to get a job at IBM, the next time we spoke, that would be in my notes, and I would say, oh, by the way, Eliana, did Robert ever get that job with IBM? People think I'm a genius. Did your kid ever graduate or get into that college? Or what happened there? I'm talking about things they told me 6 months ago. I call their spouse by name. People think I'm a genius. I'm not a genius. It's just that I keep very accurate, detailed. Anything I find out about you in casual conversation is in my CRM. Anything I know about these people. Things that make it personal. Well, Jim, I'm going fishing in Bahamas this weekend. I talked to you 6 months. Hey, you went fishing in Bahamas back in June. What happened there? Did you catch anything? You know, it's so personal. It's not all business. People buy a car because they're excited. They believe that car is going to change their life, and they meet the mortician. All you want to talk about is the deal. So many salespeople out there are not making a good living. Your dealership's not making good profits because all you're selling is deals. The whole conversation's about the deal. You think the deal is the car sale. Well, I'm going to tell you, wake up. The relationship is the car sale, not the deal. The deal comes after the relationship if you do it right. And when I call people many times, and I get their answering machine, right? I'll call people. They don't want to hear from you. Understand this. They bought a car from me. They didn't want to marry you. And here the manufacturer, you follow up, follow up, follow up. People get sick of hearing from you because every time you call, you're trying to sell them something. Call them sometimes and say, look, I don't have a business agenda for this call. I just want to see how you're doing. How's the car? Do you get good service out of it? Try talking to your customers without trying to sell them something every time. If you try to sell them something every time you talk to them, they're going to look at their call identification. They're going to screen you out. That's why you can't get them on the phone. They see it's you. They don't want to talk to you. And, of course, we work by appointment. I've covered that. It's that time. Eliana, you there?
Oh, I'm here. Are you kidding? Where would I go?
Hey, you know, I went through it in an hour, and I threw out a lot of information, but I bet there's some things people want to know.
Oh, I bet there is. So now's the time, everyone. Everyone on the webinar, if you have some questions for Jim Ziegler, ask anything. This is the time to do it. Write those questions in. We're going to get to them in just a moment. Right now, though, got a little bit of business to take care of. Don't we, Jim?
We do.
We do. We're going to give away some prizes right now. So if you're ready.
Can I tell them what it is? Can I tell them?
Absolutely. Please, go ahead, Jim. Tell them.
Okay. A couple years back, I had these videos filmed with a 3-camera shoot in front of an audience of 300 people. This is the ultimate sales professional. We sell these for $1,500 each all day long. It's 8 hours of sales training with me in front of a live audience. All the word tracks are there. All the techniques are there. I mean, this is what we use to train entire dealerships, this video series. And I'm going to give away 2 of them. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
All right, well, let's see now. Audience, now we're going to give away 2 of these. We're going to have 2 chances to win. Yes, people are writing and saying they want them. Okay, here we go. You're going to get 2 chances to win one. All right? So I'm going to ask a question, and if you're the first person to write in with the correct answer, you win. Then we're going to ask another question, and again, first person to write in the correct response is going to win. So get in front of your keyboards, get your fingers all nimble and ready.
I don't want to see these on eBay or Craigslist either.
No, absolutely not. Okay, so here we go. First question, and good luck, everyone. It's a really, really fantastic prize. Jim, stand by. Here we go. First question. I'm ready. Question is, what does ABP stand for? Wow, we already have a winner. Wow, that was quick.
No.
That was really quick. Woo! Caliente. Ashley Gobble is our winner. Ashley, write on in. And yes, Ashley, it was you. She already wrote in. Was it me? She's a quick typer. Ashley, write in.
How did she do that?
I don't know, but everyone got it right, by the way. So write in and let me know what dealership you're with. Not to fear, everyone. You have another chance to win. We got another question for you. Ashley, what dealership are you with? Let me know. Okay, second question. So get in front of your keyboards. Here we go. Okay, Ashley's from Friendship Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Bristol. Ashley, congratulations. That is awesome.
I've never done business with those people, so I got to tell you that she didn't hear it previously.
No, Ashley, you were great. Okay, let's see who else can answer this question and win one of these awesome prizes. Here we go. Your last chance to win comes right now. Oh, she's in Tennessee, by the way. Okay, here we go. Question is, and this is an easy one. Get typing fast. Here we go. Question is, how many phone calls does Jim say he makes per day when he's at the office? Holy crapola. That's a lot of people. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Everyone got it right. Everyone got it right. I got to scroll all the way up here to find out who the first person that answered was. Britton Bissett was our first correct answer, and that is 100. And Ashley Gobble, I am astounded that you tried to win the second one too. Bad girl.
That was the eBay when she was trying to win.
Ooh, Britton Bissett. I don't know if that's Brittany and it was spelled wrong, but it's Britton Bissett was the answer. So Britton, write in and let me know what dealership you're from. Congratulations, both of you. Ashley, I got to write your name down. Ashley Gobble and Britton Bissett. I have no idea where Britton is from, and she didn't write back in. Who is Lee Kia of Greenville, North Carolina. Britton, congratulations, dude. That's awesome. 1 and 2. And by the way, Ashley, your fingers are so fast, you were the second person to write in the correct response. Note to self, do not go up against Ashley if it's a typing contest. So here you go. Okay, we're going to get to the questions now. Are you ready, Jim?
I am so ready.
Okay, of course.
Do I need to advance the slide?
Yeah, you probably do. I want to, of course, congratulate the winners, Ashley and Britton, and of course we want to thank Ziegler Super Systems for the awesome prizes. So thank you so much for that. We're going to get started on our very first question, which comes to us from Megan, and she writes in, if you are in a BDC with multiple locations, do you have any suggestions on how to send effective videos? Thanks. So do you have any advice for Megan?
Okay, absolutely. First of all, there's a program that I use called iJot, E-Y-E-J-O-T. And it's a very expensive program. It's $98 a year. So, and it's a template that you can send the customer a personalized video using a webcam, and you can make a video in 45 seconds. You know, you don't want to do the Gettysburg Address. You don't want to do a long-winded response. But to beat the autoresponders, I use the Logitech 9000 Pro camera, which is like $65 most places. I use the Logitech 9000 Pro, and I use iJot. When the consumer inquires or when I get the email lead, rather than send them an autoresponder message, I'm making a real quick iJot, and you can put things on the iJot template like live chat, where they don't even have to go to your website to do live chat. They can chat right off your email. And you're hooking that customer when all the other dealers they inquired of are sending autoresponders that look alike because they came from the same DMS vendors. And here I am sending them a customized video. Hi, Carol, Jim Ziegler. Now, I see that you've inquired on a new Kia. We have 13 Sorrentos that identically describe what you've asked for. We're only 2 miles from your home. My phone number is this, and I'm going to be calling you soon, and whatever. You can contact me. I mean, you can do all sorts of things with a custom video. Hello, Lauren, I got your inquiry. And when you say, hello, Lauren, I got your inquiry, that consumer feels so special that they're looking at you. You've humanized yourself. You've gone to the third dimension. Custom videos and instead of autoresponders are awesome. Next.
Okay, thank you so much, Megan. I hope that helps you out. Certainly if you have a follow-up question, please let us know. Our next question comes to you from Christy. She says, how many sales staff do you work with that spend their own money on creating their business within the dealership? For example, you run your own ad with your photo. And is that something you even recommend, Jim?
Yes, it is. And I know I've got a lot of managers listening to this. I'm going to address this in two parts, a management viewpoint and a salesperson viewpoint. From a management viewpoint, I really want to be sure that my salespeople on the social media are conducting themselves in a manner that we would want our customers to see. And we've had some horror stories where salespeople recently were putting things on their Facebook, and I know that's their personal Facebook page, but when you become a salesperson, you are a representative on and off stage for the dealership, and some of the consumers have been known to find the most awful things on salespeople's personal pages. Conduct yourself as a lady or gentleman, on your Facebook page. If you're going to be a car salesperson, you're going to have a public Facebook page, even though it's personal. And the second thing is, all of those 30 or 40 people that I know making the big money, every single one of them spends money on themselves. I mean, my entire career, I was not afraid to budget myself, to sell cars, because my focus was on the outside. And always prospecting, always looking around. Yeah, I'd answer her question. The answer is yes, I would spend money on myself. I can't really go deep into that, but yes.
Okay. Christy, great question. Thank you so much for that. Tim Jennings wrote in, he's sexy and he knows it. Just thought I'd throw that out there. And
I know Tim Jennings. He is a phenomenal sales representative, a phenomenal manager, and I know he's in the vendor circuit nowadays. I love Tim Jennings. What's he got to say? He's the one who turned me on to iJot, by the way.
Oh, really? Oh, that was nice of him.
He is a video fool. I mean, when he was selling Buicks, he would send all of his customers a personalized video. Tim Jennings, very special guy. What's he got to say?
Oh, he just wanted to tell you hi and give you a smiley face and stuff. Tell you did a great job. So, but I do want to get to this next question from Tammy. She says, what book or tool would you recommend to share with our sales team and BDC to increase prospecting and sales skills in addition to the training that we have?
Ooh, now, golly, I have read so many books, and I'm working.
Book or tool, or one of each,
Well, of course, you have to have a CRM, and the biggest thing I'll say is to use your CRM. The biggest fault of dealerships is that they don't use the tools they have. But as far as a book, theprosperityequation.com, my book, of course. The first chapter is audio, and you can listen to it for free on the site. That makes a heck of a good sales meeting, because what it talks about is how I blew into Atlanta in 1982 with my mattresses tied to the roof and became a millionaire within 5 years. And it's basically how it happened. I started out selling cars, became a manager, and then started this company. Any motivational books by Zig Ziegler or Tom Hopkins, any of the greats. I'm in the National Speakers Association. I am a CSP, Certified Speaking Professional, and I have been privileged to rub elbows with some of the greats in our business, because the beginning speakers, as well as I know Jack Canfield, Chicken Soup for the Soul,
right.
Mark Victor Hansen, his partner, Randy Gage. I mean, oh my gosh, I've met so many of the really spectacular speakers, and all the motivational books, I read them, I participate in them, and I rub elbows with the people that wrote them. It's all good. Harvey McKay, Swim with the Sharks, I know him quite well. A lot of good people. I can't recommend a specific because it's not coming to mind right now.
So you think they should just have like a book club and read one new book every month or something?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I have always read the books myself and taught the books content, the spirit of the book in my meetings.
Right.
Nothing is brand new. But I started out with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, and that guided me through the first phase of my life. Anything a person can conceive and believe you can achieve, and on from there.
You know, it's funny, Jim. Sometimes you read a book, and it's not the book as a whole that gets you and changes you. Sometimes all it takes is one sentence, that really just makes it into your head and says, that's what I needed to make me make a change. So Tammy, I hope that helped you out. He named some really great stuff out there. So curious to see she already wrote in. Thank you. I'll definitely go to the prosperityequation.com. So there you go. Tammy, thank you so much for that. No mind for the shameless plug that Jim Ziegler gave to himself.
Oh, shameless plugs. Oh, please. Yes.
We accept all kinds here. Okay.
I'm prospecting right now. What are you talking about?
By the way, Ashley, who was one of our first winner today, the very fast typer, she wrote in a question. So let's get to her question next. She says, I am currently a one-woman BDC from the ground up, and I'm trying to get started with phone calls and emails. Any great suggestions on getting more customers into the dealership? What do you got for her, Jim?
Okay. We work by appointment. I mean, that's got to be tattoo that on the back of your hand. And what time can you come in? So many times we don't remember that the reason they called is to make an appointment. No matter what you're trying to achieve, that is the number one thing you're trying to achieve is the appointment. The consumer calls in, and Jerry Tebow is excellent with the phone skills that convert a phone call to an appointment. The Phone Ninja, I mean, he is just his company is phoneninjas.com, and I think Jerry Tebow is just phenomenal at getting an incoming call or an incoming email and converting it into a customer that actually shows up. At least Kephart is great at that.
Mm-hmm.
But, what time can you come in? And never say when can you come in. You always say, I'm available at 2 o'clock or I'm available at 5 o'clock. Which is better for you?
That's exactly what I remember from that. I remember him saying that.
What time tomorrow are you available? I can't come in this week. Oh, Saturday or Sunday, which is better? I'm continually going back for the appointment. Well, is that your best price? Now, here's a great one for BDC people. When a consumer says, is that your best price? Oh, heavens no, there's always a better price available. But that's the least we're allowed to advertise or commit to on the telephone. There is a better price available.
Ooh, that's a good answer. I've never heard that one, Jim.
I made it up.
You made it up?
That's why I'm Jim Ziegler.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Ashley, you're going to be getting a really great prize. Maybe that's going to be the thing that helps you. So, Ashley, I wish you the best of luck. Somebody from Ziegler Super Systems is going to be contacting you to get you your awesome DVD set. Let's go to this next question. Actually, quick question from Jason, who wrote in. Oh, by the way, Ashley says, thank you so much. Have a great day. Jason wrote in, what CRM do you use? Jason wants to know what CRM you use. Now,
well, before
you answer,
mm-hmm.
all the CRMs out there have something awesome to offer. But we're going to find out what CRM Jim uses. So, Jim, what CRM do you use?
Well, this is going to be pretty easy to not offend anybody. You got to remember the type of business I am. I'm doing business with car dealers. Car dealers are my customers. I'm using Outlook Professional. And I've got 35,000 names in my personal database, and I have 135,000 names in my list server database online. So I've got 35,000 people that I personally call and know, and Outlook Professional can handle all that. And I've redesigned some of the screens and fields, but yeah, I'm using a pretty customized version of Outlook. But that would not be what I would think most BDCs were using. Let me regress a little bit. There's one of the major import stores in the world, Highline Imports. We've increased this dealership $3 million annually in a dealership that is already successful. And what we did was when I got with the owners, we agreed that the managers and the salespeople would start doing everything that the CRM program does. All these CRMs are great, but in most dealerships, some salespeople, you're lucky to get the salesperson to put the customer's name into the machine, much less the information.
Right,
We
right.
have got to stop working deals with half of the information. As managers and dealers, I've talked to the management, I require, when I was a good salesman, but I was a record-setting manager. I come from the mentality of a manager. I am the supervisor of the salespeople. I'm a leader. I want to help the salespeople. My job is to cause a salesperson to take a good living home to their family and the people they care about. My job is to cause a salesperson to be successful and have a better standard of living because they work at this dealership. And sometimes that's stressful for the salesperson because that's my main consideration as a manager, is to be sure that they have a great living. And part of it, when you come up to my sales desk and you want to work a deal, I will not work your deal with half the information. All the information in the CRM every time. I hope that answered that.
I hope so too. And Jason, he already wrote in. Thanks. You're the best, LKN Automotive Group. Oh, he's an owner. Jason, thank you so much for that. Appreciate it, and appreciate your time here today on today's webinar. Let's get to a couple more of these really cool questions that we have coming in. Jesse, your question's up next. Jesse says, I took over a store with a bad rep from a couple years of what he says are quote-unquote carnival sales, as he puts it, the traveling sales teams. What are the top 3 steps you would take to turn the reputation around? Under new management is something everyone seems to burn out.
Okay, that's a great question.
It is a great question.
Reputation is important today. Reputation management is paramount in projects that we do in these dealerships. You know, my wife, my super beautiful trophy wife, Debbie, you know.
I just hope someday my husband calls me that. Go ahead.
my super beautiful trophy wife, Debbie, who I love intensely, you know, she won't go to a hotel, she won't buy anything without first of all checking and seeing what their ratings are by the consumer. You know, the ratings. Ratings are more important now than ever. Your customer reputation. So to create reputation, first of all, you're going to have to reapproach these people. You've got a database of who bought cars from you. And once again, I would reapproach them with a video message from the owner or from the general manager. Hi, this is Fred Simmons. I'm the general manager at ABC Motors. And we have completely revamped the way we do business here. We want you to come back and try us again, and just for coming in, a free oil change and filter up to 5 quarts for anybody that's bought a car from us previously, or anybody that would consider buying a car from us. We want to show you how we treat you, whatever. You know, get the people back in. They've got to re-experience you. They're going to talk bad about you until they re-experience you. Word of mouth can kill you. And you got to remember, on dealer reviews and dealer ratings, bad will outnumber the good most often if you don't solicit good.
Right.
Because the haters, the people that don't like you, those are the people that are going to jump up and rate you. I was one of the speakers at the J.D. Power Roundtable 4 or 5 years ago in Detroit, in Dearborn. And, you know, I had some conflict with Dave Power. You know, in years past, I said he was a communist, and Dave
how could he take offense to that?
Well, he and I become friends, and we joke about that today. By the way, I'm great friends with Finbar O'Neill and all the people that work at J.D. Power. But at the time, I was sparring with them a little bit, and here they had me as a speaker at the J.D. Power Roundtable, and I'm up there and I'm looking right at Dave Power in the audience, and I said, you know, customer satisfaction is worthless as a reason why a customer will buy a car from you. And you could hear the groans in the audience. Customer satisfaction is worthless. I'm in a Ritz-Carlton hotel. The people know my name. Everybody here loves me. The food is immaculate. The towels are so fluffy in the bathroom you can barely shut your suitcase. You got that.
I did.
But I did not wake up this morning saying, damn, I'm satisfied. People do not notice when they're satisfied. They only notice when they are dissatisfied. And we have to understand the haters are going to publish reviews first. You've got to entice people from their own computers at their own house, don't do it from the dealership's computer, to give your dealership good reviews when they're happy. We are not bad people in the car business. I mean, I hate stereotypes that people, most of the dealerships I know, the people are emotionally involved in the community. We're invested in this community. We belong to the churches. We belong to the schools. We do things for the Little League teams. And, we don't deserve the reputation that the negative stereotypers give us. We don't cheat people. We don't beat people up. I mean, if that ever happened in the car business, it happened a long time ago, and we have made great strides in cleaning up our industry. And that's why I am such a crusader against people that perpetuate negative stereotypes. If a vendor does that, I'm all over them. Don't ever slander the car dealers and take money from them at the same time. But get your reviews in order. Start stacking up good customer reviews on the top of bad ones. Put some mission statements from top management on your website and in personal emails, and start soliciting these people that were good people. Whatever, under new management's not going to do it. You have to have under new game plan, under new way of doing business.
And just so you know, and thank you so much for that, Jim. That was extremely perfect answer. Jesse, and for all of you also out there, we are going to be having an upcoming webinar just on reputation management and how to get more of your people who walk into your dealership to give you great recommendations and great reviews. So that'll be coming up. That is going to be Heather McKinnon from Dealer Rater is going to be giving that.
Heather is the right person to have on that.
Yeah, yes, I know.
Absolutely.
And reputation management is very, very important. You really, you can't do anything without a great rep. So, Jesse, I know you have an uphill battle against you, and overcoming a bad reputation is really, really hard. And I do not envy your task ahead of you, but I wish you the very, very best of luck. And hopefully we'll see you on a future webinar, especially the one about reputation management. I think you'll really get a lot out of it. Quick question from Allison. When is that? I don't have my schedule in front of me, but it's coming up soon.
That Allison is quick.
I know. No, Jesse wrote in when is that webinar? It's going to be coming up soon. It's going to be coming up soon. You'll see. You'll see. Allison said, how much time do you think a salesperson should spend on social?
Ooh. As much as is effective. If I were selling cars today, I would probably spend 8 hours a day on social when I wasn't in front of the consumer. I would spend all of my off-consumer time generating business. And right now, I make about $30,000 a month on my personal Facebook page, me personally. That's not all the income I make, but that's just what I'm making on that. I get 600 and 700 people on a busy day on my Facebook page. And it's all people that are in the automobile industry. I've really recruited a lot of good friends, and the Alpha Dawg tribe is real. And I'm not selling. You very rarely see me put a sales message up on my. I'll put seminars up when I'm doing a seminar, and I'll refer them to the battle plan sites. But for the most part, I'm not selling on my Facebook page. I'm just interacting, and people know that I teach seminars. They know I consult in dealerships. They know what I do, and people are throwing $30,000 a month at me. Now, I'm doing a big dealer group, and I won't say who the dealer group is, but I had 60 or 70 of their managers in the room, and I made that statement. I make $30,000 a month on my Facebook page. And one of the managers said, I think you're lying. What do you mean? He said, I don't think you make $30,000 a month on your Facebook page. And the dealer was sitting in the room. And I said to the dealer, do you mind if I tell these people how much you're paying me for this 2-day session? He said, no, I don't mind at all. I said, okay, your dealer is paying me $25,000 for this 2-day session plus my travel expenses, which comes to almost $30,000. Now, I turned to the dealer. I said, how did we set this up? He said, we did it through private messages on your Facebook page.
I'm going to assume that shut that guy up.
I think I made my point. I still have to sell the services and perform the services, but I'm contracting and transacting my services on my private messages in Facebook. And of course, I've got 5 additional fan pages. I can't say enough about fan pages on Facebook for dealerships. And pay-per-click on Facebook is tremendous. It's another great way to prospect. Pay-per-click on Facebook is the cheapest and best producing per dollar spent pay-per-click I have seen.
There you go. All right. Well, I really hope that helps you out, Allison. You know, we're really past the top of the hour. We're coming up on 1:30 actually. So I just want to sneak in. I just want to sneak in a couple more questions because they're really, really good. And by the way, Jesse and anyone else who was interested in that reputation management webinar that we have coming up, that is going to be July 25th. So you can put that on your calendar. July 25th with Heather McKinnon from Dealer Rater. She's going to show you how it's done. So let's get to this question from Kevin, who just snuck this question in because I was just about to close up the show. Kevin says, when comparing traditional advertising to digital, what percentage should go towards traditional and what percentage toward digital? Jim, is that something you want to comment on?
Okay, yeah.
Real fast.
In 1928, now I was not around then, I'm old enough. In 1928, bank robber Willie Sutton got out of prison. And the press, the reporter said, Willie, why do you rob banks? And he said, because that's where the money is. Well, why do you want to be on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the electronic mediums? Because that's where the population is. That's where your customers are. If there's over 1 billion people on Facebook and 38% of them are U.S. citizens, I need to be in there. And crowds moved. Unfortunately, the crowd has moved off of newspaper. Very few of our prospective customers in our prospective demographics are still using newspaper. That's why newspapers have migrated online themselves. You know, so I would have radio is still very effective. Direct mail is still very effective. Somebody talked about the travel and road shows earlier, the event sales. Now, there are some really good event sale companies out there, and there are some that are just a bunch of roving gypsies and pirates. I mean, don't brand all of those event sales as bad people. They're not. But quite a few of them are, and I know which are which. But the point is, those event sales, they come in, they sell 100 cars in 3 days, and they make a lot of profit. That business, whether you like the way they did it or not, even if they were a bad company, they still did that business. They still got those people out of your community when you could have done it yourself. If they produced 100 sales, that means there was 100 sales to be had in your community that you weren't getting. And I see salespeople stand around and complain about those people, but they're getting deals that you should have been getting and could have gotten. What are they doing differently? Well, they're using direct mail effectively for the most part. Direct mail is still the bomb. Email still markets well, but more and more emails getting spammed out. You've got to be careful. You got to be when I send out 135,000 emails, I have permission marketing. Everybody knows they're going to get those emails. If they say to unsubscribe, man, I take them off immediately. I don't want anybody receiving my messages that doesn't want to receive them.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I got 135,000 people receiving my emails. And the Alpha Dawg tribe is my complete strength. I get by with a little help from my friends.
So you prefer digital over traditional? Because he's actually asking for a percentage. This by the way, is Kevin Campbell from Sandy Sansing Group in Pensacola, Florida.
Kevin Campbell, very good friend of mine. I've been working with his dealership for 20 years. Mr. Sansing is a great friend of mine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're good people. In his market, traditional probably would produce a little better. In the Pensacola market, business would produce a little better than not. And some of the smaller towns, newspapers still a little stronger than in the big metropolitan areas. It's next to worthless, but in some of the smaller communities, newspaper still has a hold because people want to know local news. So you can't give a percentage. Kevin, come on, you know me better than that. Percentages are going to be demographic where you're at.
And Kevin wrote in and he said he is definitely a tribe member. He says, thanks, Jim. And And I appreciate the shout out, Kevin. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you being on the show too. One last question.
He's a great manager, by the way.
I'm sure he is.
If anybody from his dealership's looking, he should get a raise.
One last question for you, Jim. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, this one comes to us from David Sharp. He says, ask Jim, when's he going to buy his next car?
I just bought a car, and the funny thing is I bought it from a local dealer online. I went online, and you wouldn't believe. I'm not going to say what dealer it was because they'd be embarrassed, but when I bought the car, the first response back was, and they didn't know who I was, and that pissed me off to start with, but they didn't know who I was, and they didn't know I was Jim Ziegler, and they didn't know I was in the car business. The BDC people didn't know that I was a car person. Their first email response back to me was, we will split the holdback with you.
We will what?
We'll split the holdback with you.
Really?
They went below invoice halfway on the first pass and didn't know who I was.
Oh my gosh!
They found out later.
And you still bought a car from them?
At that price, why not?
Oh, David had a follow-up question for you. He says,
"Okay,
who do you know that's looking for a car?" David, I see a pattern here.
I bet he's going to come back and try to buy the one I'm driving now.
Well, before he does that, let me say, Jim Ziegler, it was an absolute pleasure to have you. You're a legend in the industry, and I thank you so much for being here with us today. And I really hope you'll find another date and time where you can come back and do another webinar.
We've got other subjects we can talk about, and I would be honored to be asked that.
Oh, thank you so much, Jim. It was an absolute pleasure, and that was just a fantastic presentation. So we're obviously way past the top of the hour, but any questions that weren't answered during the time allotted, don't worry. We're going to respond by email later today. And people are writing in saying they enjoyed the webinar so much and that they learned a lot. So, Jim, thank you so much. Of course, I want to remind the audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. Please feel free to share it with friends, colleagues, your kids, your dog. I don't care. Share it with everyone. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. All you got to do is go to dealeron.com/webinars, and there you click on the on-demand webinar link on the right-hand side. You can view our upcoming webinar schedule as well, access our past webinars, have lots of fun, give us some feedback. We love it. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar in just a minute, you're going to receive a short survey. Fill it out, please. We're always looking for great feedback from our valued audience. Today we're going to randomly select a couple of people.
Remember, if it's not excellent, it's not good. Everything is excellent.
We do ask you to
webinar. Remember that.
We do ask you to rate the speaker. So if you could let Jim know what a great job he did.
Excellent, excellent.
Excellent, of course. And a couple of people from those completed surveys are also going to win some Google prizes. So you can't win if you don't enter, right? Now, invitations are going to be going out tomorrow for our next webinar. Right, Jim?
Right.
There we go. The top 5 ways to make your dealership more successful. It's going to be with Mark McGurran, the Chief Digital Warrior with PCG Consulting. And let's be honest.
I love Mark McGurran. He's got a similar hairstyle to mine.
Yes, he does, doesn't he? Let's be honest. Is your dealership as successful as it could be? Well, Mark McGurran knows why some dealerships struggle and flounder while others achieve greatness. He also knows what can turn your dealership into a truly elite money-making enterprise. So in this 1-hour webinar, Mark is going to dive into proven insights that you can implement immediately. He's going to show you how to avoid mistakes he continues to see all across the country, and he's going to discuss what makes a great dealership and how great dealerships stay great. Most importantly, he's going to give you tools to help your team sell more cars. So if you want to learn 5 different ways you can make your dealership more successful, well, this is a webinar you simply can't afford to miss. It's going to be another fabulous presentation by your friends at DealerOn. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And boy, oh boy, do we have some great webinar subjects and presenters planned for the rest of this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, feel free to contact me directly. My name is Eliana. I'm at eliana@dealeron.com. I'm sure you get my emails. I'm also on all the automotive social networks, so please reach out to me. I love hearing from you. And thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today. And I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one. Jim, you can say bye.
Goodbye, everybody. ProsperityEquation.com.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Shameless. Shameless.